This is Len Lazarick with MarylandReporter.com. We're here today talking to Republican Senate candidate Daniel Bongino. Dan, you just got into this race. You gave up a career in the Secret Service. Right. You protected President Obama and President Bush. Why are you doing this crazy thing?
I get that question a lot. Fair question. I'm just a normal middle-class guy who had just had enough. I think it's time for normal folks like myself, middle-class folks, to get off the couch and throw a pass. Time to stop watching the game. And I think my story's been resonating with some folks. I gave it all up to do this, and it's a genuine article. I genuinely believe in what I'm doing. I'm just a normal guy who just got tired of it. I got tired of being led around by government that's just not doing what they said they were going to do.
So you're not a rich kid doing this on a lark?
No, I'm not. I've done my financial disclosures. I've said to a number of different media outlets, you're not going to find anything in my background. I didn't inherit a lot of money. I'm just a normal middle-class guy. I'm living off my savings right now. I left my pension, my health benefits, and everything else in the line to do this because I'm a believer. I'm a believer that we can really change things, but it has to be led by a different crop of folks.
But you grew up in New York. You were a New York cop. You went into the Secret Service, but also along the way you got a bachelor's degree and you have 2 master's degrees. So you know something about economics.
Yeah, I sure do. I did all my degrees while I was working full-time. My BA was in psychology. My MA was in neuropsychology and behavioral learning, which really isn't that far removed from economics. Shockingly enough, economics is just basically a reward system, how you choose to allocate your capital. My MBA was from Penn State. It was finance-centric, but I did most of my own private research in economics. I like to say I'm an economist by desire, not by trade. I really enjoy economics. I've always liked numbers. So I have a good background in that field.
So your hope is to be the Republican nominee against Senator Ben Cardin, who's been in politics in Maryland since before you were born. Why are you picking a fight with this guy?
I have no personal problem with Ben Cardin. I'm sure he's a wonderful guy, but the reality is he's out of touch, and he's been out of touch. He got into politics 7 years before I was even born. He's been there ever since. His entire adult life has been in politics. And I have this expression for folks like that. They suffer from this silver spoon paralysis, where they really haven't had to make a tough decision their entire lives. Now, granted, they can say, well, he made this political decision and that political decision, but that was for other folks. It wasn't for him. You know, I've been making a lot of hard decisions for a very long time that involve my own personal safety, my own financial condition, and I think that's the forge that really builds a character. And I think people, career politicians like Ben Cardin, I think the American citizenry is just tired of it. They need people who really understand their problems with a background, substantive background in the issues. And I feel like I'm that guy. People are tired of this. Career politicians, I think their days are numbered.
Give us some specifics where you disagree with what Cardin has done over his career.
Well, a recent issue that's been in the news is the debt ceiling. He wanted a clean bill. Well, what a clean bill? I call it a dirty bill. What a clean bill? What does that mean? We're just going to indiscriminately raise the debt ceiling? Do you realize the signal that would send to international markets? We owe every single component of the United States economy that's made here. Our entire GDP, we owe the entire value of it. Every single thing that's produced. Matter of fact, the entire private real estate market.
A clean bill meaning only one to raise the debt ceiling.
Only raise the debt, no riders, no attachments, no caveats, nothing. Raise it indiscriminately.
No cuts.
No cuts, nothing.
Yeah.
That's an absolutely preposterous position that no serious person or serious politician who really cares about this country, really cares about this country's economic condition, I should say, would have taken. And I find it unbelievable that someone would publicly come out for a stance like that. I mean, what are you saying? Does money have value or does it not? Does it have value or does it not? I ask you, Senator Cardin, does money have value or doesn't it? If it does, who's paying? It's not you. It's your kids and your grandkids. His too. They don't get a pass. I mean, what are we saying here? This isn't the America I know. It's not the America you know either. There's no way that the American Revolution was built on the principle of pass the debt to your grandkids. I don't buy it.
Considered one of the experts in Congress on health care, but you object to all the things he's done about health care, basically, right?
Right. The system, the intentions are wonderful. You know, Milton Friedman had an old expression that said, yeah, you think healthcare is expensive now, wait till it's free. Well, why does he say that? Because free healthcare has been tried before. It doesn't work. You know, I said before to a number of them, even yourself in another interview, where I said, you know, the only loss in productivity in the non-tradable sector in some markets is in healthcare, meaning it's one of the few economic sectors on the planet that has failed to grow economically, is publicly subsidized, socialized healthcare systems. And we're emulating that. It's an open book test. This has been done before. It's guaranteed to fail. Guaranteed to fail. Guaranteed. And yet we want to try this again. The three principles it's based on will fail every time. Third-party payers, price controls, and coercion, meaning you have to join, have failed every time. It's not one documented case where a socialized medicine system has ever increased healthcare productivity. Not one. He can't show you that because it doesn't exist.
Switching to another hot topic at this time, you signed the petition to put the immigrant tuition bill on the ballot.
Sure.
Why, and your wife's an immigrant from Colombia. Why,
Sure.
why did you do that?
Because it's not an immigration bill. It's a law bill. It's a bill that says, are we going to follow the law or are we not? I mean, think about it. There are limited numbers of spaces in these schools that are subsidized by mine and your tax dollars. Excuse me. If you're in Maryland, you pay those tax dollars. So there's a limited number of spots. It's a scarce resource. So this bill that was promoted by a lot of the ideological left in the Maryland State House basically says that don't worry about the law, don't acknowledge any of that stuff, just break it, and not only break it, but we're going to give you a subsidized rate. Now, we're not saying they can't go to the University of Maryland, immigrants, and I'm not anti-immigrant. I've said this a number of times. I'm anti-illegal immigration because it's not an immigrant issue, it's a law issue. It's patently unfair to tell a Maryland taxpayer who's done the right thing, paid his taxes, has worked hard, that, you know what, your kid can't go to this school, but that guy can, and they didn't really follow the rules, but it's okay. Nothing, they may be great people, they may be absolutely wonderful, but it's not an immigration issue, it's a law issue, and it's patently unfair to do that. I can't support something like that.
Give us 2 or 3 of the top reasons why a Marylander who has voted for Ben Cardin multiple times, perhaps, been on the ballot, is going to choose a novice politician over this longtime Democrat.
Because I think we've reached a turning point in this country where people are genuinely tired. They're tired of spin. They're tired of great speeches and terrible results. I'm a guy who gives honest answers. You can log on to my website. You can ask me to speak somewhere, and I will always give you what I'm actually going to do. Not what my intentions are, what the results are going to be, and here's how it's going to happen, and here's what I'll vote for. And I'll give you the numbers and statistics to prove it. I've got the research on fiscal adjustments, on economic policy, on education choice. You can dispute it all you want. But like John Adams said, facts are stubborn things. And I think people want facts and real people who live real lives. It's time for real change. None of this hope and change, real change. Let's get these career politicians out of there, and let's get real people who've made real decisions in real lives. And I think I'm that person. I think it's time. The time is now.
Thanks for being with us today, Dan.
Thanks for having me.